and sticking around for a long time. It's not easy to do these days. The NFL, it's a competitive sport with the life being really short in the span of a career. So it was something that I always said I wanted to do, but I was always not sure if I was going to be able to get it done.
Well, especially at your position, I was reading a quote from Jeff Fisher, and I thought it was a good point. He said, Steven Jackson gets tackled, not hit. Has that been kind of the key to you staying healthy and having that longevity?
Well, I think it's a little bit of the reason. I do a great job of taking care of myself on and off the field, and even when we're out of season, I make sure that I stay in somewhat of shape, so that it's not a hard transition getting ready for the season year in and year out. Coach Fisher actually he talked about that. He met in private with me. We were talking about Eddie George, and he was saying that you can tell when guys are still playing, still have a lot left in their tank. And it's exact quote like you said. It's when the players start to get hit and not tackled. It's when you can tell that he's maybe down to his last years.
Do you feel different though? I mean, when after this many years in the NFL, does it feel different now than maybe your first year or two in the NFL when you wake up on a Monday morning?
Well, I mean, as you get older, things do linger on a lot longer than what they used to when you were in your teens and your early 20s. But as far as Mondays have always been rough for me, even when I was in Oregon. Sundays were rough for me at the time. So I always played with a lot of passion. I always dealt out a lot of pain. So it's something I've become accustomed to, and I know how to get over really fast.
Is it, I mean, I don't know if frustrating is the right word, but, I mean, you've been so productive. You've had unprecedented success for your position in these modern times, yet the team hasn't had the success that probably you were hoping for.
It's frustrating. It has its peaks and its valleys. But one thing I can say, this organization that drafted me at a time where they really didn't have to. They thought forward in the future and having someone replace Marshall. They gave me an opportunity to come in right away, learn from someone that was great, and take over a rich tradition at the position in this organization. You mentioned Eric Dickerson and Marshall Faulk. And the list goes on in this organization of great running backs. So they gave me an opportunity to prove myself as an individual and how good I can be as a running back. And I do believe towards these next couple of years, we can get back in the picture of the glory days, and hopefully I can cap it off with the Super Bowl.
2 years ago, you had, Bradford's rookie year, and you guys win, 7 games, and everyone's talking about as kind of the hot young team. And then last year, there's the backslide. When you look at the way this team's constructed going forward and hopefully a little healthier, what are the expectations for the Rams this coming year?
Well, we don't do predictions. That's not. Anytime a young person asks me about interviews, I first thing tell them, you don't do predictions. But we're very optimistic about the season, and we think with us making that trade with the Washington Redskins a couple months ago, that has better positioned us to get some young talent at in much-needed positions. I believe that we have the base and we have the core. You have James Laurinaitis, you mentioned Sam Bradford, you have myself, we have Chris Long at the defensive end spot. We have some good guys at key positions. Now it's time to add those accents. Guys are going to help us make plays and get us over the top.
This is Rams running back Steven Jackson. So who would you like to see the team take with the number 6 pick?
I believe who's ever best available. We have a lot of needs, like I just said. Everything plays out between those 3, 4, and 5 picks. And whoever is left at that point, I think if we're going to add to our team, he's able to play right away. We're not in a position to stockpile, but if he's able to add our value to our team, I believe we draft that person.
Maybe a deep threat to take some of those 8-man fronts that you see every week out of the equation?
Well, definitely. Me personally, I think that's the way we should go in the first round. Is
yeah.
Adding some more tools and talent around Sam so he can definitely show his ability to be an elite quarterback. But if that guy's off the board, then you have to play GM, and you have to think what's the next available and what's best for us. So anyone that can be an impact player right away, I think that's what's going to suit best for us and best for Sam.
When's the last time you thought about cutting the dreads?
Um, Maybe a year ago, I considered doing it, and I backed off of it for a little while. But the thing about my hair is it was very meaningful when I started growing them. They still have a dear meaning to me now. But I never wanted them to become bigger than me. I didn't want them to come on and take a life of their own. So I still don't think that's half. I'm a person that rocks dreads, but they don't make who I am.
Well, what's the meaning behind them?
Well, the meaning behind my dreads is when I left Las Vegas and went to Oregon State, I had never really been a part of it away from my family much. So it was really of me reflecting the bond that I had with my family, and I did it through the appearance of wearing my hair and locks. And that was me bringing them on the journey with me.
How important was the family? I know with the Steven Jackson Foundation, you do a lot, in Vegas where you grew up, and not necessarily the greatest environment in the world. How important was the family just to get you out of there and keep a head on your shoulders where you didn't get sucked down where so many other kids did?
Well, we started the foundation in 2004, my rookie year, and the Steven Jackson Foundation, all we wanted to do is combat illiteracy and make sure that young people, not only in Las Vegas but nationwide, understand that education is something you can't put a price or value on. I wanted to emphasize to them that they have to have not only a plan A but a B and C. And to only do that is to continue to pursue your education, not to give up on it and think that you can later come back to it or something that you could just go and wing it through life. And that's not what I want our young people to do. And I want them to understand that you should have a plan. You should want to pursue a college degree once you get your high school diploma. And a lot of kids in our country have, taken on a huge responsibility to being a breadwinner at a young age and putting things off like education. And I just really want them to focus on and hone in on that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I remember you talking about that back when you were here, and you have great parents, and they always said that, as a young man, you were more likely to be reading a book than playing football. So what do you think when you go through college and you go through the pros, you see all these guys who didn't have your background and that foundation and that upbringing, and you see some of them self-destruct. I mean, what goes through your mind when you see that?
It hurts. And, it hurts my heart to see you overcome a lot of obstacles to become a professional, or whatever it is you decided to do in life. And we all have our life stories, but if you self-destruct, I believe you're not continuing to invest in yourself. You're allowing too much of the world around you to cave in on you, and you don't know what to do and where to look for options. And I would really, truly believe that you have the education. You have people that you can reach out to. You have a good sounding board, and you make wise decisions. Reading and education is something that doesn't get old, and it will never leave you. So it's something that no one can take away from you. So I want our young people to really understand that it's okay to want to be athletes or entertainers, but everyone needs a plan B.
How do you convince college kids, Division I athletes, that everyone wants to be an NFL player, everyone wants to be Steven Jackson, everyone wants to be, Cam Newton? How do you convince them that their time at school is not just playing football or playing basketball, but getting that education? Because that, to me, seems to be a big problem with the Division I athletes that we have today.
Yeah, that's very true. I think the first thing is you show them the cold hard facts of the reality of how many people will be drafted, the lifespan of the career, which is 3.5 years for an NFL player. So you just say, if you're lucky enough to be drafted at the age of 21, 22, by the age of 25, they're expecting you to be already over with your career. And that's a long life to live. And you continue just to show them the obstacles that they have to overcome and really get them to think about what will you do for the next 25 to 30 years with your life? What is it that you want to do? And the more you can focus in on that than the instant money and the instant lifestyle and the change, they really need to understand that it's a short career. It may be a lot of money, but it comes in a fast and a short span. And you got to be able to take care of yourself for a long time.
Pretty refreshing. This is Rams running back Steven Jackson. I read a quote from you. You said you want to be the next, or I guess you said the second coming of entrepreneur Magic Johnson after your career. What ideas do you have? What do you want to do?
I have a great interest in architecture. So architecture, fashion, and films. I think all three are areas that will never get old. We all love them as Americans, and they're very influential in our communities and in our culture, how they express ourselves, and people have a dear understanding and appreciation for all three.
Well, you're a fashion-forward guy, and I'll tell you what, Steven, I don't know if you thought about this, but if you put together another 2 or 3 years like you've had, you're going to be wearing a gold jacket in Canton.
Well, thank you. Well, just hearing you say that is showing improvement that I've been consistent and all the hard work I've put in is not being overlooked. But it's something that, it's no criteria to be a part of the Hall, but if it ever happened, I would definitely be proud to represent my family and the state of Oregon and everyone else that has been following my career for a long time.
Well, the last thing I wanted to ask you about, I don't know if you've seen it, but did you get wind of the Oregon football marijuana story?
I did not.
Okay, so ESPN does a thing on the Oregon football team, and they say that they interview guys like Achilles Smith and Reuben Drone, some former NFL guys that played there, saying that 40 to 60% of the team smokes marijuana. I know, shocking, right? But how prevalent do you think marijuana use is among athletes just in general that you've seen?
I'm not quite sure, but marijuana usage in America is something that I think is really prevalent, and a lot of people don't realize it. But I think we all should understand that it may be something you think everyone is doing and you may be able to get away with and no one know. But it all takes a toll on the end of your life. And I think we should all understand and think about the longevity of how long you want to be on this planet and what the impact you want to leave.
Yeah.
And not just get caught up in the moment.
You think 40 to 60%, though, is an accurate number for just any given college football team?
No, I don't think so. I think that's a little high.
That's too high. Yeah. Well, hey, it was great talking to you. It was we had a great time covering you when you were here. I swear you're one of the nicest guys to ever play at Oregon State. It's really nice to see the career that you've carved out and especially your work with the foundation. So, Steven, thanks for checking in, and good luck this season.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, Steven Jackson, Rams running back. How thoughtful is that guy? Great interview. Love him.